There's a camera hidden in my room. Every night, someone moves it an inch closer. I discovered it 47 days ago. It's a small thing, no bigger than a button, black with a tiny glass lens that catches the light just so when the angle is right. I only noticed it because I was searching for a lost earring behind my dresser and caught a glimpse of something reflecting my phone's flashlight. At first, I thought it was just a piece of broken jewelry or maybe a forgotten thumbtack. But when I looked closer, I knew exactly what it was. The first night after finding it, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the tiny black dot nestled in the slight gap between my dresser and the wall, barely visible unless you knew exactly where to look. Who put it there? My landlord? A previous tenant? Some random creep who broke in while I was at work? I should have called the police immediately. That would have been the rational response. Instead, I did something else. I marked its position. I placed a small dot with a pencil on the wall behind it, just to be sure I wasn't imagining things. The next morning, I checked, and the camera had moved, just slightly, less than an inch, but definitely closer to my bed. The pencil mark confirmed it. That was when the real fear set in. Someone wasn't just watching me. They were entering my apartment every single night while I slept. Moving the camera. Getting bolder. I started taking precautions. I wedged a chair under my doorknob. I put a bell on my fire escape window. I even bought a can of pepper spray that I kept under my pillow. But no matter what I did, every morning I'd wake to find the camera had moved another inch closer. Always exactly 1 inch. I started measuring with a ruler. By day 14, I was sleeping in short, fitful bursts, jerking awake at the slightest sound, convinced I'd catch whoever was doing this. But I never did. My door remained locked, my chair unmoved, my window securely shut. Yet the camera kept advancing. I took time off work. I stayed awake for 3 days straight, sustained by caffeine pills and fear. My hands trembled so badly I could barely hold my phone to check the time as night slipped into dawn. Despite my vigil, on the morning of the 4th day, the camera had moved again. 1 inch closer. I left my apartment then, fled to a hotel downtown, didn't tell anyone where I was going. I stayed away for a week, trying to convince myself I was overreacting, that there was a logical explanation. Maybe the vibrations from the street were causing the camera to shift gradually. Maybe I was sleepwalking and moving it myself in some bizarre, unconscious ritual. When I returned, I half expected the camera to be gone. Instead, it had moved precisely 7 inches closer to my bed, as if marking each day of my absence. That's when I gave up on the idea of leaving. Whoever, whatever, was doing this would follow me. The only way forward was to understand. I began to document everything. I took photos of the camera's position each morning and evening. I made detailed notes about my dreams, about the sounds in my building, about the patterns of shadows on my ceiling as cars passed by outside. But on the 4th night, at 3:33 a.m., I heard it, a soft, almost imperceptible scraping sound. My blood went cold, but I forced myself to remain perfectly still, eyes closed to slits, watching through my lashes. In the dim glow of my nightlight, I saw something impossible. The camera was moving on its own. Not being pushed or pulled by an unseen hand, but crawling, inching across the surface of my wall like a living thing, leaving behind a faint, silvery trail that evaporated seconds later. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. Instead, I lay there, paralyzed by a terror so profound it felt like drowning, and watched as the camera moved exactly 1 inch closer to my bed before becoming still once more. In the morning, I convinced myself it had been a dream. Sleep paralysis. A hallucination brought on by weeks of stress and sleep deprivation. But deep down, I knew what I'd seen. I tried to remove the camera once, grabbed a pair of tweezers and attempted to pry it from the wall. It wouldn't budge. It felt warm to the touch, almost like skin, and when I pressed too hard with the tweezers, I could have sworn I heard a faint, high-pitched sound, like a distant scream. I haven't tried to remove it since. Today marks day 47. The camera is now halfway across my room, a straight line from where it started to my pillow. At its current pace, it will reach me in another 32 days. I've stopped trying to prevent it. Instead, I've developed a sort of relationship with it. Each night before bed, I talk to it. I tell it about my day, my fears, my childhood. Sometimes I ask it questions, though it never answers. Not with words, anyway. But 3 nights ago, something changed. I woke at 3:33 a.m. as usual, eyes barely open, and saw the camera making its nightly journey. Only this time, a small red light had appeared on its surface. A tiny, pulsing glow, like a heartbeat. Last night, I heard something new as it moved, a soft, almost musical tone that rose and fell in a pattern that almost, sounded like words. Tonight will be day 48. I've pushed my bed against the opposite wall, buying myself an extra few feet, a few more days. But I know it's just delaying the inevitable.
If you follow me, my profile picture will turn into a shooting star. Let's check it out.